Let's just worry about this little here, this thing. Okay, let's do the JavaScript. First, before anything, always do a console log, see if it's actually things are working. Okay, we have HTML. Let's check the console. So hi, good. So things are working. Perfect. Okay, we have a hi. So let's just get straight to making the API call. We can do it either through a fetch, Axios, or HTML HTTP request. Let's just do it through. I don't think we should go through all three of them. Let's just do it the fetch way. It's one extra step. Axios is the same thing. It's one extra step. So let's do a fetch. Let's just put it inside a function so we can call it anytime. So let's just do get movie data, or make API call. You can name it anything. Just make sure it's like a verb, so that way you know it's whenever you're fetching information, just make sure you have like a verb on it. That way you know what kind of what the function's doing. So get movie data. Okay, get movie data, and then we have a URL. We could just put this inside. So for this, in this example, we'll just do one API call. So since the API, the object we get back isn't that crazy, we could just kind of store it as a local variable and then use it as much as we want. So we'll do that here. Let's do let movie data, or let's do all movie data. Set it equal to nothing, blank, or you could just simply just do this. All right, let URL, that's our URL. Now let's do a fetch call. Fetch, pass in the URL. After that, we want a .then, and then we get a response. So let's just do a response.json. Okay, now we have a JSON object that we can do stuff with. So another .then. Now we have the data, and then let's do a let's just actually let's do this and then console.log lowercase data. Okay, data. Oh, we never called it, so let's just do get movie data. Okay, we get this. You guys might have noticed that there's no async await, so we might have to put that. So let's just do a document dot add event listener. So let's make it so that DOM content loaded. So once the DOM content has been loaded, we'll make this API call. So let's just put this inside of here. Okay, so it should automatically make that call. Okay, so far so good. It's saying that we are getting data, but console log. Okay, so let's remove this. Actually, let's just cut it out. We'll put it here, and then we'll get to see what the problem we had yesterday with these promises, with these API calls. So let's just put in all movie data. So let's put data in all movie data. So the reason we're doing this is we're saving it as a global variable. Now we don't have to make an API call anymore. We have everything we need in this one little object, or at least everything about the movie. But if you wanted to make another call, then you would have to make another API call, because some of them, they do have links, as we can see here. All right, so let's just refresh, see what happens. We get undefined. So what did we do here? We parsed it, and then now we're changing all movie data, or putting all the data we got to this global variable. But and then when DOM content loads, we're calling the function. So we would assume that this worked, this happened. That's why we console logged it, assuming that once this function runs, we have it and we should get something, but we get undefined. Okay, so how do we fix that? Async await. async async await. So what this means that as I mentioned yesterday, JavaScript just runs through the code top to bottom, and it doesn't wait. For fetch calls, we have to make it wait because data takes a little bit of time to come back to us. So we have our sync await. So in this, when content loads, we're going to wait for this function to finish. So let's see if this fixes it. It still doesn't fix it. So we waited for this function to run. And so what JavaScript did was it ran the function, it did the fetch call. Okay. But what happened was right after that, it went to the console log. So technically this await sync did nothing for us. So now let's put that in our get movie data function. And now let's see if this solves the issue. And it does solve the issue. So what did we do? We waited for this whole thing to finish. This whole thing. We waited for this whole thing to finish. And then this function was done. So let's just see if we needed this or not. So yeah, we did need this. Okay, so we needed that. So like I said yesterday, just, when in doubt, just throw in a couple of sync awaits. It will fix most of these issues. Okay, we have the movies data. Now let's inspect the data real quick. So it turns out we have 20 items here. It's an array of objects. So we see a couple things. We see a couple of strings, an array, and yeah, there's not much. It's just an array of objects which holds strings and arrays. So the three things we needed was where is this? So the three things we needed was these three things: H3, PP. So we need title, year, and description. So let's just comment that out. Title, year, let's see, RIT. Title, year, description. Okay, we need title, description. Oh, before that, we would need to create our options, our select options. So create select options, meaning the movie title. So the movie title, we need title, year, description. Title, year, description. Okay. So we actually don't need this anymore. So let's just look at this and see how we're going to get into how do we actually get the data from here. So for the movie titles, it's pretty simple. As we can see, title is just right there. So we can just do dot title. For the title, another dot title. We just need a dot title. For the year, it's release date. So dot RELEA, release date. Okay, that's spelled right. And then we need description. It's also the SCRIPT. Description. So these are the dots we need to get the data. Okay. So we have our data. We have our data saved into our global variable. So now we can use it as much as we want. So the next thing we would want to do is first let's resize this. So okay, yeah, do not put quotes. You see how I put the quotes, and there's you can see the quotes now. Let's not do that. Let's put nothing, and now it's blank. Okay. So next up, let's create the options.